What's good, y'all? We back. It's your boy ARP with the Sorry is True podcast. Shout out to the chat, the members, and all the mods coming into the building. We got to get to it, man. Day 14. Day 14 was something for the Diddy trial. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. So this Mia witness, this ex-assistant from Diddy that continues to testify. If you notice the paintings that's coming out of court, they don't got her face, they don't got any facial details, any eyes, any ears, a mouth, a nose, none of that. I don't even know if this picture, for example, if they're like kind of even switching the hair. She could have curly, short black hair in there for all we know. But they're hiding her identity. That's the context or the pre-context of what she's, testifying under a pseudonym. So Mia could be God knows who. I ain't doing all the speculation I see on the internet. People's running around, they're trying to identify this person. Really doesn't matter to me. I don't care. Once the trial is over, I don't care too much who Mia is. I'm just sticking with the focal point. You see the title of this stream though. Diddy Trial Day 14 recap. Is the defense winning? I'm gonna ask that question towards the end of the chat. What we got to go through today is I want to give y'all a video that we're gonna play of an expert's opinion on the prosecution versus the defense thus far. I believe that's an expert lawyer that's been tuned in with the trial. I'm gonna play that video. I got another one to bring up as well. A video of somebody that gave an ether round, somebody that dropped the ether response in regards to some of these witnesses taking a stand. I want to take a look into that. But what I have up here on the screen right now is pretty much a breakdown and just a recap of day 14. All right. So we're going to start looking through some of this. And I will say, I still got my top three most important, most explosive testimonies thus far. One got to be Cassie. Has to be, right? Because she opens up all of the sex working, the guy, the hammer or whatever that they brought up there as well. He was tied into the freak offs with her, some of her text messages, the abuse, the working within his circle. She's tied to all these different scenarios. She's number one. She was the star witness. Dawn, I don't feel so. I don't feel like she's a top three, right? Kid Cudi is top three to me. Okay. The whole thing with the arson and breaking into his home and allegedly chasing him around and it being tied to Cassie. And there's a lot going on with Kid Cudi. And you saw that after his day up there, his name continues even up through yesterday. He just keeps getting mentioned. Now, Cassie's best friend, I thought was very, very powerful as well. Um, uh, it's between that for top three people that have testified so far. Y'all put in the chat what y'all think y'all most damaging testimony thus far was from the Diddy trial. I don't know. Who was that other girl that went crazy? She was up there painting a movie. She was just like the one that basically he took her to Central Park day one of her being hired and was just like, listen, man, if you got any involvement with Suge Knight, I'll kill you. Like, this is the first day that she was on the job. I think, yeah, she's got to be top three. Yeah, so there's been some tough ones, but this girl Mia has been very, very serious up there. And this is what, her second or third day of testimony. All right, let's get into some of the recap, and as promised, we'll get into videos after. But at Diddy trial, our accuser Mia explains why she told him over and over that she loved him. Diddy. You see the picture here that the courtroom sketch that they drew up. Once again, they got her faceless. They got Brian Steele up here. He was tagged into the game. He definitely had an effect on the trial yesterday in a big way. And they got some text messages up here that they're showing. For example, Merry Christmas. I love you so much. Happy New Year. Always so much. Love you too. All this type of stuff. All right. We're going to see some of those in this summary. All right. Let's get into some of these bullets right here. Mia was the second sexual abuse accuser to testify against Sean Diddy Combs. So remember, everybody else thus far, they've been into these physical confrontations with him. Like, let's say like a Kid Cudi, for example, or even Cassie's best friend. She got hit with the hanger allegedly over her head. She ended up taking like $30,000 and just went her merry way, walked away from Cassie and Diddy. What else do you got? You got people complaining of the harsh work environment, people having their jobs threatened, people like Dawn. She complained and she came back for the re-up in the second contract and all that type of stuff. But as far as being sexually abused. Mia is making that claim as the second person alongside Cassie in this whole trial. So, all right. During cross examination Monday, she was asked about dozens of loving text messages she sent to Combs. She said she only loved the version of Puff who protected me from other versions of himself. Oh, she got real deep in psychology there, didn't she? I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to come off too sarcastic. I gotta read it one more time. Why not? Let's read it one more time, y'all. Oh man, she listen during cross examination Monday. She was asked about dozens of loving messages she sent to Combs. She said she only loved the version of Puff who protected me from the other versions of himself. How y'all want me to interpret that? You know what's you know the sugar mama I was with last year during tax season. You know what I'm saying? You know the version of her that I love, even though she used to spit on me, beat on me, say your podcast is trash, RVE is the worst league ever. ARP used a shitty person as a man. Your character, your personality is in the gutter. You're not smart. You don't know shit. You're not successful. You just a failure at life. Right? I hated that version of her. You know the version of her that I love? The one that was breaking me off after tax season and giving me half of her check. That's the version I love. But once that was over, everything else I ain't rock with. But I hung around her until the next tax season, a whole 12 months later, and we was texting in between. What you mean, the version of? You know, I always hated that astrology shit. I know some of y'all, and I ain't gonna call you out. Some of the homies and some of my close people on this chat, some of the members, they real heavy into astrology. ARP, use a Sagittarius or use an Aquarius or use a Gemini or whatever. All right, man. If you think my personality is altered or changed by the time of the year that I was born or where the tide and the moon was, that's all you. My parents, my surroundings, my culture, my nationality, the place that I'm growing up in, the circumstances, my friends, the school systems, all of that helps to mold you as a person and your character and your personality. There's some DNA in there, of course. Yeah, there's some instinctual stuff in there that mommy and daddy or all the way through your bloodline then passed. You are an aggressive person or you're a passive person. Some of that is in there, yes, but come on. Get the fuck out of here with this shit, man. The version of. What do you mean the version of? It's the same fucking person. I don't care whether it's the one that gave you a check or it's the one that's beating on you tonight. It's Diddy, okay? It's fucking Diddy. And the moment we try to do that psychology, fake fucking two-person movie split shit, the horde. Once we do that, we give the person we give the person an excuse. All jokes aside, nobody in this fucking chat is gonna get awed. Hopefully, no ladies or men in this chat is gonna get awed, right? And then give a pass to the person talk about, oh no, that was the version 2 of them. It's all good because the version that would do that or wouldn't do that, like, nah, me and that one is cool, right? Really? Who's gonna do that? If you would do that, then you could ride with shit like that. Okay, then that's fine. I got some water to sell you at the beach while we here. The fuck out of here. The version of you got it. All right. Our accuser and former employee Mia spent a second day under cross-examination at Diddy Combs' sex trafficking trial, explaining for 2 hours why she reportedly told the rap tycoon that she loved and admired him. Okay. There were many times that Puff, as she called him, used to be my protector, she told the federal jury in Manhattan. I did love that dude, she testified Monday. Okay. He protected me from the other versions of himself, she said, referring to the versions of Combs she previously described, flinging her into walls and essaying her. So the abuse thing, we take that serious. We're not going to play around with that. If she indeed was tossed around, thrown around, hit on, beat on as a woman by this grown ass, physically capable man, that's trash, that shit. I will remain of the opinion that I think Diddy is a piece of shit person. I just do. I would never want to meet the man and shake the man's hand, right? But I did do a rant a couple streams back, couple coverages back about empowering yourself, to really stand on no means no. and you further empower a man in under these circumstances that can get away with it. Never ever let go of the classic, at times cliche term, people do what people allow. And it's not just essay people, okay? That man or that they'll try you. It'll start off with just a laugh or a joke. Here's a quick one for y'all. I'll tie it into Diddy. Y'all seeing that viral clip that's going around with it's Cassie, it's Lauren London, it's Diddy, and it's Nipsey Hussle in studio. Y'all seeing that? It's going viral again, right? It's all over the place all last week, right? For anybody that hasn't seen that clip, it's Diddy in the studio. It looks like he's half like directing or engineering a song that they putting together. Nipsey Hussle is in there. Him is the artist. He's dapping up people because it looks like they just made a banger. Like they're listening to the song that they recorded in the studio, you know, and he's clapping, like kind of cheering for the success of the song that was made. Like, yeah. And Diddy cuts the music. And for whatever reason, like he tells Nipsey, like, yeah, stop clapping, no more clapping. And as awkward as that is, and as much as it's like if Dr. Dre tells you in the studio, like, yo, everybody lower your voice, people will lower their voice, right? And this is Diddy. It's that caliber of a person that you're in the stew with. And he says, no more clapping. And the artist side of Nipsey, the compliant side of Nipsey, the I'm here with the legend and the person that has created such hits as like Every Step You Take and whatnot and won Grammys and whatnot. That's who got me in a studio, right? It's still Diddy here and fucking Nipsey all the way down here. Like it's still that. But that side of Nipsey left. And the side of him now is just a man. I don't give a fuck about all that neighborhood and Crip shit and gangster shit. No, I'm not talking about that. Just the man side of him said, I'm gonna clap all night. What are you talking about? And then you see Diddy. I swear to God, if you read his body language and his demeanor, he was kind of taken aback. Like, oh, like you tried to check Nipsey and he checked you in the process. Like, nah, I'm gonna clap all night. What you mean, grown ass fucking man? And then you could watch the video play out. Diddy, awkward space was created, you know, and then he tries to lighten the mood by turning to Lauren London and turn it into a joke. Hey, Lauren, I make you laugh, don't I? I make you laugh. And then they're over there like, what? And then Nipsey turns to Lauren and his girl said, yo, clap. Y'all, everybody in here, clap. Cassie doesn't clap. Cassie goes like this. And she is like, I still got to go home with this nigga. Watch the video. I take a lot from it. But Lauren and Nipsey, they start clapping again. That's the clapping again. It's just a challenge. It's a symbol. It's a telling the person like, fuck you mean. It's like me telling one of my homies, like one of my close homeboys or something like that. Like, don't shoot that basketball again. We leaving right now. And he says, man, listen, I ain't leaving on a miss. And he takes his final shot and then we get in the car and we pull off. It's just a mental fit. It's not even a man thing. I don't even want to say that because women, y'all should be doing the same thing. This is what I mean. But when I say people do what people allow, that little moment, if Diddy says, yo, don't clap again in here, Nip, and Nip goes, oh, my bad. That it's a snowball. Because the next day in the studio, it's this. And the next thing you know, they'll go get me some water. Next after that, he might fuck around and slap you or some shit. Diddy did not meet Cassie day one and says, oh, nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying? I heard that you're talented and all that. I want to get in the studio with you. I love your look. I love your image. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck was that? Oh, my bad. Just my regular reaction to how I treat people. But anyway, what's your last name again? No, it doesn't happen like that. Sometimes it can happen real fast because maybe he's seen something or he just wanted to try something real fast. But people do what people allow. And then when you turn all of that into 10, 11 years, they say, wait, did you take the good with the bad? Slapping on this young woman makes you a piece of shit. But wait up, shorty. Wait up. You kind of benefited or consented. Cut it out. So people, it's very important. I won't bash women or Cassie for being in these situations, but we still have to take a kind of opposite position from them to remind people like, Nah, we can't be the ones to go. Cassie is the one to go. I don't want nobody in the chat to be the next Cassie. Let the Cassies of the world stay there for 10 or 11 years. I'm telling y'all, he put his hands on you once, get the fuck on. Get the fuck on. That's it. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, let's get back to the summary, y'all. All right, Mia, a pre-prosecution witness who is testifying under a pseudonym, was asked on Monday, read out loud from dozens of heart emoji dotted texts and on an Instagram post she had sent Combs during and after her 8 years working as his personal assistant and film company executive. I didn't know it was 8 years. I didn't know she had an 8-year stint with this man. 8 years. I don't need to repeat the rant or the little point that we just made, do I? 8 years? He was there damn near just as long as Cassie. All right. Is it confirmed? Was it stated? Did anybody see in the post that they have a sexual relationship? This Mia person and Diddy, did they have a sexual relationship on the side? I know she say that he ought her, right? I think they're saying that. All right, let's continue. In one text exchange from January 2019, she told Combs she dreamed she was trapped in an elevator with the R&B star and sex trafficking convict R. Kelly. Combs came to her in the dream. She told him in the text to save her as her protector. So she had a dream that she was trapped. She should have just said in the closet, right? That trapped in the closet. We ain't gonna lie, man. That series was dope all the way up until about episode 5, right? By the time you got to like episode 12 of Trapped in a Closet, he had midgets coming out from underneath the kitchen sink and shit. Remember that shit? Yeah, like R. Kelly, he went too far. He's a creative genius, but it was just like, dude, sometimes you could go too far. But you was trapped, not in the closet, but instead in an elevator with R. Kelly. And Diddy was your Batman. I'm trapped with the Joker, but the Riddler came to save me. What a dream, shorty. What a fucking dream. Oh, man. Oh, shit. Anybody ever see the battle at Kroger? Classic Mother Nature twist of events. Imagine escaping an alligator and running into lions. That's crazy. All right. Defense attorney Brian Steele asked Mia how she could use the words protector and love to describe the man she'd also testified had essayed her and physically terrified you. It's a good question. It's a fair question, no? As she has more than a dozen times since taking the stand Thursday, Mia described the two puffs that she said she knew, the two versions once again, the Gemini effect, right? Split personalities, the duality of this man. Okay. There was the one who indeed terrified her, the volatile, often violent millionaire who she says has described in his testimony repeatedly slamming her arm in a door, flinging computers and bowls of spaghetti at her and R-ing her as she slept in the staff bedroom of his Los Angeles mansion. Okay. And there was the one she shared trillions of stories with, as she said, in a context, in a text of Combs from 2020, which described a series of treasured escapades. In that text, she remembered drinking together with Combs at dawn under the Eiffel Tower and Leonardo DiCaprio grabbing her pink, bedazzled cell phone during a Baccarat game. Okay. Oh, so you really swinging with the stars. Mick Jagger trying to take me home, but I ran away. I almost was for a second going to ask, how old is Mia? Are we getting context of that? But this has to be an adult. I'm assuming. I mean, the drinking, you could be on the age drinking, but the Eiffel Tower trips and whatnot, and you living on the premises. I assume this is a of age adult at the time, right? Functioning as his assistant. And let me go back now because the justified, there's multiple justified reasons to still be there in the midst of being abused, but one of them is a minor and a child, right? Now, I'm going to say that I really do believe that a minor or a child doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to escape, doesn't have anywhere to go. We might see a video of Lil Wayne's girlfriend at the airport with her daughter say, yo, he just kicked us out on Mother's Day, whatever, right? regardless. And she said it happened over text message. So we don't even know if Lil Wayne did that face to face, right? Whatever happened between them, right? But you're still watching a video of an adult that is making moves. She got the hell on. How about another one? Remember that skit from Dave Chappelle where he compared the black and the white girl that got kidnapped? And not saying that white girls, not white little white children, not capable. I'm just saying within this story. And the black girl was the one that, her kidnappers left her alone. I think she chewed through a rope, so got untied or whatever, and exited the house. You know what I'm saying? We see scenes where, let's say somebody is kidnapped and they literally are trapped. They literally might be caged in. They might be handcuffed to something. They might be locked into a room or something. But if you're in this mansion, and you're a child, that's not the case here, right? And there's all these exits to just get out and walk or leave or whatever. Then it's just like, yo, like, how do you escape from danger? If your hand is on the stove and it's hot, remove that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? But then there are those scenarios where, if this is a little 12-year-old girl, where is she going? She's gonna sit right there and deal with whatever's happening. She's gonna grow up fucked up. But these are grown women. She's a grown woman. This is just tough. And these text messages are real, real. All right. I love you. She signed another text from July 2022. Jurors were also shown a happy birthday video Mia sent to Combs in 2013. Hold on. So this happy birthday video from 2013 would be easy for me to go, all right now we in 2025. This is 2013. That's what, 12 years ago. 12 years ago, she's happy in some video. Maybe that was the good times. But if you go right back above, this was 2022. I love you. She signed another text from July 2022. I'm sorry, folks, was that 3 years ago? And if she was working for him for 8 years, right? We couldn't even cross from 2022 past where we're at right now, which is in 2025. So that automatically crosses this 8 years, of course. What's going on, shorty? What's going on? All right. Prosecutors had unsuccessfully fought to keep jurors from seeing the birthday greeting, saying the dozens of texts already shown to the jurors were cumulative. An overkill. All right. Defense lawyers are trying to discredit a half dozen women who have accused Combs of physical and sexual brutality by suggesting they are disgruntled former staffers and girlfriends who have tried to cash in through what's still called on Monday a Me Too money grab. So let's give a little bit of opinion there, people. The Me Too money grab. He's creating a whole nother saying, ain't he? We know what the Me Too movement is. There's a lot of people that defend it and take it very, very serious. Once you start getting to things like inclusion, once you start talking about things like rights and equality, I mean, come on, it hit through history. We've had different movements that are supposed to have these different types of impacts on people, whether culturally different or whether sexuality different, man versus woman. And so even things like affirmative action, right? We see these things happen at times, and they're supposed to be impactful for better or for worse. The Me Too money grab, right? And you could even take the Me Too literally, saying that you're seeing people come out, i.e., even maybe a Cassie, her lawsuit, and then this person settles in less than 24 hours. Maybe I could get some money too. Did y'all see my stream from last night? This girl Mariah that accused Zion Williamson of R-ing her. That's a Me Too for me, in my opinion, allegedly. A super Me Too, one of the most disgusting Me Toos that I've seen in a while. Of Me Too, let me get paid too, allegedly. Okay. But the discrediting of a half dozen women, that's where I think the prosecution could have a door open for them. Because at least with this Mia witness, the defense is winning. All right. Every witness could add a little bit more to the table for the jurors to feel leaned in one of the other directions, right? This whole thing that we're seeing for Mia, you can't convince me that Mia leaves the stand, she's done, and everybody says, well, that's a point for the prosecution. No fucking way. Mia is all points scored for the defense. But here would be, to me, what the prosecution would be able to use. They're hinting at it here, but they're complaining about it, right? There was even complaints during an intermission to the judge. We'll get there. About the berating of Brian Steele towards Mia as a witness, right? And the line of questioning she was undergoing. But that's what you got to do. You gotta once again, I'm not a lawyer. We're just trying to apply common sense, and I'm speaking from a standpoint that if I was on the jury, this is how you would do a good job convincing me, right? The prosecution, once again, separating and saying, yes, this person right here, Mia, there could be a little bit of cause to pause in there from the simple fact that in 2013 she was partying, and then in 2018, she said she was assaulted. And in 2023, we see this whole other I love you, you are my protector text. Yeah, she might have been up and down. She wasn't consistent. She should have left. But did y'all happen to see the Cassie video? Do y'all remember that? Do you remember what happens when somebody tries to leave? Do you remember what happens when somebody walks towards the elevator? And just bring the jurors back down and say, and I'm sure stuff like this will happen in closing statements and also as the trial continues, right? It's a seesaw. I think it's a seesaw in there. It's not a straightforward case based on what he's charged and the type of stuff that is being testified against thus far. Okay. So that's what you got to do as the prosecution. You have to continue to remind people like, okay, you might have some gray there, but what about this black and white situation right here? We're not going to forget that. We're not going to take that off the table. We're not going to excuse that. And that's a big reason why Diddy and his team fought so hard to try to get that damn CNN footage of that hotel incident when him and Cassie, they tried to get that out of court. They did not want that to come in. Shit, you got to imagine how much they didn't want Cassie to testify. That's why she's the star witness. That's why she's the most important testimony. When all roads lead back to damn, but we actually seen it. We seen what his capabilities are. We're going to look at this Mia girl and say, you look like you might be a money grab. You might look like a Me Too money move, as per Brian Steele. You over here, this assistant, like you said, you only slept for fucking 4 hours, but you were so blown away to have these fashion opportunities and whatnot, and you stayed for 5 years as well. I'm sorry. Looks like just a typical New York work schedule. Nah. But look at this person that got the pictures of the bruises and the plastic surgery that was done allegedly over Cassie's eye and all of this. I'm sorry. These are ones that you can't get around, but Mia is helping the defense a lot. Well, some of it is Brian Steele's attack as well. All right, Mia's birthday video to Combs. My bad. Let me come back where y'all can see some of this as well. Mia's birthday video to Combs was admitted into evidence and screened for jurors after defense lawyer Alexandra Shapiro argued it shows that Mia has been displaying a false persona during the 3 days on the witness stand. She's being called a liar. You up here stunting and fronting. We ain't going. All right. Mia spoke in a clear but quiet voice. She get out of here with these ads. Get out of here. She sat hunched over forward with her head almost continually bowed. In the 2013 birthday video, her head was confidently held up and her voice was cheerful. Yeah. It's different when it's time to get cross-examined, huh? I'm so blessed to call you my friend, she tells him in the video, which also featured a product placement. She drinks from a bottle of Aqua Hydrate water, a beverage Combs had invested in. Oh, so you're getting money, you're doing placement ads, you're saying I love you. To another 44 years of brilliance. Let's fuck things up. Love you, she says in the video, blowing him kisses. But there have been two Mias as well. Her testimony has suggested. So the same way you saying that he's got this duality to him, now they're saying you do as well, shorty. I didn't understand what had happened to me until recently. After therapy and speaking to prosecutors, Mia told the jury, what? Hold on, I don't rock with that at all. I didn't understand what happened to me until recently. So that is the first. I don't fuck with that. But I could give you a small pass because I just understand that not everybody is like you and I, chat. You know what I'm saying? Some people will actually get assaulted and be like, oh, no, this is negative. This is a problem. This is not what I want. I take issue with this. And some people will realize later on, maybe like, yeah, he was beating on me. I thought I loved him and the bruises and everything. I thought it was just our toxic relationship. And this is how he communicated with me. And I had to realize that later on. There's people like that in the world. I'm not one of them, but there's people like that in the world. But for you to tell the court, okay, therapy, cool. You needed a therapist to understand your own brain and your own mind. But and speaking to prosecutors? How do you tell that to the court? How do you tell the court that you realize what happened to you while having conversations with the prosecutors? What way do you think the prosecutors are going to lead you? Yeah, so oh no, it was disgusting because there's other women too. And what had happened to you? And then if she's the type of person, I gotta sit there with the prosecutor and say, yeah, you know what? You're right. It was nasty the way he treated us, even though he also blessed me with all this money and all this opportunity and all these trips and all this. Like, yeah, you're right. And it's fine once again if a therapist or somebody, your homegirl, your mother, your sister, somebody hips you to girl. That's not right. That ain't common. That ain't the way to go. That ain't a good nigga. If somebody had to convince you, cool, but a prosecutor to fucking convince you of that shit, that damn near sounds like Brian still need to hop out again. Like, hold on, where did this conversation take place? Did it take place in your private quarters? I need the judge gone again. It sounds like that type of shit. How do you tell that to the court? All right, that's bugged out to me. Mia, who wrapped up her testimony on Monday afternoon, told the jury she only decided last year to come forward with her story of SA. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to go in there. We'll leave it there. I was still deeply ashamed and wanted to die with this, she testified. I knew his power and his wrath, Mia said when prosecutors questioned her once again in the afternoon. Okay. When he was happy, I was safe, she added. Mia worked, get these ads out of here, B. Mia worked as a personal assistant to fashion designer Georgina Chapman and actor Mike Myers before she started working for Combs in 2009 at the age of about 25. She has said, okay, so she started working in 2009 and she's 25. What does that make her in 2022? So that's 1 and 11. No, wait. To 2022, that's 12. That's 13. 13 plus 25 is 38, right? So she is 38 at this. So she's 40 now, right? Okay. That's all important to me. I'm sorry. While on the witness stand, Mia told the jury that Combs had sexually attacked her 4 times between 2009 and 2017. Okay. That's a span of what, 8 years, including at his 40th birthday party at New York Plaza Hotel on his private jet. Okay. She described working for Combs as chaotic, toxic, yet exciting at times. Mia also detailed grueling job hours in her testimony, telling the jury she once worked 5 days without sleep. I would have fell over. I ain't gonna lie. My body's not even physically capable to just 5 days straight. It just don't happen. I assume there's drugs that can keep you going, but the highs were really high and the lows were really low, Mia testified. Combs has vehemently denied the criminal charges against him and has argued through his defense team that his sexual encounters have been consensual. People, do you see what this read is even doing to me? And I'm going to check myself right now. This is what I mean about good lawyering. This is what I mean about good defense, good prosecution. It draws out your emotion. It makes you take certain things personal. It makes you pick sides, right? That's what good lawyering is supposed to do. I want to try to remain in every situation that we cover as unbiased, as fair, and as neutral as possible. I don't know none of these people. I don't want to know none of these people. I don't got no ties to them. I don't got no ambitions to sit up here and go in the route of Diddy being convicted or Diddy being set free. Neither one affects me to that degree or to that level personally. You know what I'm saying? The influence in the world is a different story. We'll have a different conversation behind that based on what the outcome is and what we see. But if you pick up even my read here, there's me checking myself. My read, I'm reading serious accusations. I'm reading things like, yeah, he essayed me 4 or 5 times between these 8 years. And I'm reading it like, okay, right? And then I get to something like the text messages of her saying, happy birthday, I love you. And my sarcasm is kicking in and I'm attacking that. But the accusations of being assaulted, ARP, you don't apply the same energy, the same sarcasm. You don't stop and do a rant for those. You want to know why? This is what the defense is doing. I'm being in the moment slapped by it as well. And the same thing will happen to the jurors. There's also a condition just becoming numb to something. Okay. When you feel like people are saying the same thing, yet there's still similar conditions that leave gray area, you will get numb to certain things. You will even start to overlook things to a degree. How many civil lawsuits are on Diddy? Nobody cares. When the first one hit, oh, what is this? When Tony Busby first came out, we did the press conference up here live, all of that. But then fast forward as weeks and months continued, some of these stories just kept compiling and compiling, and we got numb to them. We didn't care anymore. We didn't cover them anymore. Somebody else came out and said that they were sexually. What if that person really was? But the defense has to use that as well, i.e. Brian Steele saying the Me Too money moves. He's creating sayings and phrases with this shit. And this is what will naturally happen to people in time. It's happening already. It's happening to me. It's happening to some of y'all. You read some of this stuff, you say, all right, another person, because we want to know the time range, right? Another person that's saying that they got abused for 8 years. Another person that said that they was there for 10 years. You know, shit like that, angles like that kind of scratch away some of the wrongdoings as far as the impact. The impact, because who I am and what I want to see is I came on board Bad Boy Enterprises day one. He took me to Central Park and him and his bodyguard threatened to kill me. Day one. So if I'm also of the belief that people do what people allow, and I gave the Nipsey little joint earlier that we went over and we said like the test is, and then it's the snowball. They'll get worse and worse and worse because people, it's like water. They'll find the crack and then sooner or later they'll wiggle through the shit. Right? So if day one, you tell me, I'm only speaking for myself. You tell me if whatever, if anything, if this, if that, I'll kill you. That's the last day you're going to see me. There is no day 2 work. There is no week 2 work. There is no month 2 work. There is no year 2 work after that. And if I continued there, and then I run back to my homie, I tell him, yeah, in today's update and news of working for Diddy, let me tell you what happened this time. This time he threatened me over this, or he slammed my arm over this. And the person I'm telling that to is just going to be like, word, that's the same thing he did to you the first day that you worked with him, right? Okay, whatever. Yo, you watching the game tonight? It's the psychology of this shit, people. It's bugged the fuck out. It's bugged the fuck out, people. And then we start to ask once again the question: is the defense winning? All right. Oh, that brings us to a close here. I didn't know that brought us to a close there. Let's check this video out, people. An expert, a lawyer, discussing his take on some of the defense, some of the tone, and similar discussion that I'm bringing out to y'all right now about how this is going so far.
Testimony. When we testify at a trial, our testimony can be impacted. It can be affected by lots of things. Obviously, the easy thing is to say someone is lying. Someone can be mistaken. Someone can be influenced by other events, by surrounding events. Documents don't lie. Text messages made in the moment, as opposed to someone coming in years later and testifying. That text message testimony, the written communication testimony, is awfully powerful and will invariably push out of the way someone coming in years after the fact and giving testimony, again, where that testimony is old. It is affected, it is impacted, it is influenced by so many different things, not the least of which is, you want to testify the way we need you to, or do you want to find yourself with a problem? So many reasons why people testify in a way that could be different from what actually happened. That's why we always say there are 3 sides to every story, and the truth lies somewhere in between. Text messages, written communications made contemporaneously in the moment, that is far more powerful than someone getting on the stand years later and saying, yes, I remember this is what happened. She said no.
Well, we've heard from.
I'm gonna pause there. Hey, people, remember that, y'all. Remember that. All right. Go watch the Zion Williamson stream last night, people. After this stream is over, go check that out. I was so annoyed. I was so fucking annoyed. You know what I'm saying? Those text messages of them two arguing, Zion and his girl Mariah. Mariah, to me, that's case closed. The text messages is case closed. Your civil suit doesn't. Any lawyer that even picks that up to me is a piece of shit. That anybody that takes her on to go walk that bullshit into court after those text messages are on the table, if those text messages were true, is a piece of shit. Any lawyer. And I like that clear definition because people, that protects us as well. That protects all of us. Wait, let me guess. 2 years of us not talking and you realizing like, damn, you can't replace a nigga like me. You still dream about a nigga like me. You still miss the things that you all of what we had. Yeah, your mind and your emotions at times are still there. And you know what it does? It triggers you. It at times pisses you off, makes you hate a nigga because you can't have a nigga, right? You know what? 3 years ago, I forgot to tell y'all, he awed me. And then I'd be like, you want to see the last text messages that me and this girl exchanged? No, literally. Like, I mean, like the text messages that I have, the text messages that she would have if she still has them, or we can go to the phone company. This is the last text message that she sent me. These are the last 5 text messages that she sent me. This is the last time we were together. Like, let me show you this, right? That surpasses you trying to get on a stand 3 years later and tell me like, oh yeah, so this is what happened. These text messages were in the moment. It's not after you collected your thoughts. Big screen for this. It's not after you spoke to the prosecutors. That shit is so crazy. It's not after that, right? It's not after seeing all the news. It's not after watching Cassie's lawsuit. It's not after being swayed by watching the trial and watching some of these other people take the stand before you. It's not nothing. It's just, this is my normal life. This is what's going on in this very moment of me being here in this party, living it up. I love you. Thank you for protecting me. I can't wait to do it again. Happy fucking 40th birthday. For me, I agree with what he just said. How do you top that in the moment? Nothing that was fucking conceived, contrived, influenced. I don't want that on the table before the actual in the moment either. I'm screenshotting everything. If you slide in my DMs, I'm screenshotting you from now on. I'm warning you now. I'm very, very private. Y'all have never seen me put out nothing of my private business. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, some of y'all know me 10 plus years. You never seen that ever. So my track record is my track record. But in my own privacy, nah, man, this Diddy trial fucked me up. Because y'all will lie on me. Y'all will make shit up. If you slide in my DM, I'm screenshotting it. I'm saving it on a USB drive. And when you come out later on and say, oh yeah, the guy who podcasts, I'm like, what? It's right here. I never even met this person. I'm scared. I'm scared, man. This shit scares me, man. Y'all will lie and make shit up on people just cause there's some news going on, or Tony Busby is outside. You saw Mariah. She's like, yeah, I'm reaching out to Tony Busby. I said, oh my God, yo, Zion, I hope this woman goes to jail behind this shit. Allegedly. All right, let's continue.
For more than a dozen witnesses at this point. From your perspective, what testimony stands out the most?
Unfortunately for the government, I find the testimony that stands out the most are from most of the government witnesses who have really called into question the most serious charge, which is, again, the sex trafficking charge. The government's inability to take a person and then not any other person, but that person now being subjected to force, fraud, or coercion to engage in a commercial sex act. What the government has done is proven that Mr. Combs he's not human. He is beyond a monster. He is beyond an animal. He would have been convicted in 3 seconds of assault of domestic violence related offenses, potentially of conspiracy to commit arson with regard to Kid Cudi, robbery, maybe even kidnapping or false imprisonment. He's not on trial for any of those. He's on trial for very specific offenses: sex trafficking, engaging in a RICO enterprise, running a criminal enterprise, and bringing prostitutes across state lines to engage in prostitution. The RICO case, where, again, the government seems to be building a case where we have seen this group, this association of people engaging in all kinds of criminal activity. Again, the arson of Kid Cudi's Porsche, the burglary of Kid Cudi's house, the extortion of lots of different people, either by threats of releasing a sex tape or by threats of violence. Again, using text, you have wire fraud, emails, you have wire fraud. The actual predicate acts, the government is now building their foundation. The government is now building the case. But here's the problem. Two problems, actually. Number one, when we think of a criminal enterprise, we think of an enterprise that is in business. Businesses are in business to make money. Right now, the jury has to be left scratching their heads. I didn't hear a word, one, that this enterprise was in business to make money. When we think of criminal enterprises, we think of organized crime, we think of the mafia. The mafia is in business to make money, whether it's through loan sharking or gambling or extortion or prostitution or drug dealing. It's all about making money for the members of that organized crime family. When we talk about other kinds of gangs and other associations like a gang, they're in business to make money. It seems that Mr. Combs' business was in business to get him off sexually. That, to me, is going to be a problem for the jury. That's problem one. Problem two is the RICO, in the mind of a juror, the enterprise is supposed to be connected to the sex trafficking. But that connection has not been made. So I think it's just too confusing. So,
well,
yes,
do you think that I'm wondering, because we still have weeks left, right? So do we think that maybe they're just building this up? You know, like we're waiting to find out how it all connects?
I have tried enough cases against the Department of Justice. I've tried enough cases in the Southern District to know that it's not like reading a suspense novel. It's not like watching a Netflix suspense show where it starts out, it's kind of boring, it's kind of nondescript, it's kind of quiet, and then something happens, and then something happens, and the suspense builds, and the suspense builds until you have that aha moment. That's not the way criminal trials work. The way the government works, particularly in the Southern District, the government starts strong, they continue strong, they end strong. That's why the government has a high 90-some-odd% conviction rate. It's because most people know that the government comes out of the box strong, they continue strong, and they end strong. So you try to resolve the case and avoid a trial. And if you're going to trial, you will find the government comes out of the box strong, they continue strong, and they end strong. So no, I don't believe that the best is yet to come. I think the government's best was Cassie Ventura. The government's best were the sex workers who were brought in. And I think here, as time goes on, things are going to get better for the defense, because to your point, if the jury's waiting, okay, come on, where is, we've seen lots of sizzle. Where's my steak? Where are the promises that you made to me? When are you going to keep those promises? As time goes on, the jurors are going to start to feel disappointed. I think the same way the public is beginning to feel disappointed. I don't think you have the same clamor, the same energy, the same, oh my God, what's going on? This case is no longer, in my opinion, no longer front page news. And I think if it's
let's talk more about that and just what the jury may be thinking right now, right? Starting with Capricorn Clark's story, being allegedly kidnapped, threatened, and forced to take a lie detector test.
Capricorn.
She's crazy, right? Sounded like something out of a movie. How seriously do juries usually take stories that sound this extreme? And could Capricorn Clark's testimony help prove the racketeering?
No, it would be one thing if Capricorn Clark took the stand and said, I started working for Mr. Combs in 2018. And by the middle of 2018, I couldn't take it anymore. I had been threatened. I had been threatened with violence. I had been kidnapped. I had been forced to take lie detector tests. I felt my life was in danger. So yes, I went in, I started my job. I thought it was the greatest job in the world. I really tried to stick it out. But a couple of months into it, it just wasn't worth my physical health and my sanity. Capricorn Clark started working in 2004. The first act of insanity that she suffered through was almost immediately after she started working for Mr. Combs. In 2024, 2 decades later, she's still trying to get her job back. In 2024, she tells Mr. Combs' lawyers, hey, you do know this would have never been a problem if I was still his chief of staff.
How do you
In
say
my
that?
mind, Capricorn Clark's testimony is absolutely worthless. As Post Malone likes to say, it's all hat and no cattle. Yeah, you make some great points, but then you just have to say, wait a minute. She's in, out, sideways, back, forth for 2 decades. Her testimony to me is worthless.
Capricorn. That's her name. I still say top 3 testimonies, right? As far as impact, relevance, and tying in some of the allegations is Cassie, is Capricorn, and Kid Cudi. Okay, those 3. Cassie's best friend, decent. The sex worker, that's a point for the defense. Even when he got up and did the CNN interview afterwards, they asked him, what do you think of testimony? He was like, I don't see how you use my shit to prove any points. Nah, I didn't even cross any state lines. They booked me in Harlem. I live in Harlem. Right? Cassie's mother to me didn't really do nothing. Unless they're going to say the RICO is being fulfilled via extortion because he got that $20,000 out of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some of these other ex-assistants, very, very similar here to Mia. And the time, you know, I've continued to trash the amount of time because that's just my own personality. You can't do something to me for 10 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just me. I know there's other people that's different, but look how straight and clear cut he trashes Mia. I think Mia's shit is important, but he's just like not in the sense of proving the RICO because 2 decades, right? We look at Cassie, 10 to 11 years. We look at some of these other people, 5 years, 6 years, 8 years or whatever. How is this possible? How? And then Brian still comes out with his new phrase, the Me Too money grab. The Me Too money grab. Ain't that true, Mariah? Allegedly. So it's tough. It's tough. And I think there's another one there for us to harp on, which is government tactics, federal cases. Coming out strong, staying strong, and closing strong. If week 1, guns blazing, Cassie, get your ass up there on the stand. Not just because she was pregnant, but this is how we coming out the gate, right? And week 2, Kid Cudi. And a lot of his stuff needed to come after Cassie anyway, because he's the one in the relationship with Cassie on the side and tying into some of the reasons why he was crib broken, all this stuff going on around his name, the arson because of the car, right? So he has to go after that. And you are starting out extremely strong. And those are the star witnesses. Those are the top testimonies. Those are the biggest headlines. Those are your biggest hits. But are you going to get into week 6 or week 7 or week 8 and then bring me Usher and say, yeah, this is when Usher used to sleep in the same bed with Diddy and then bring me Justin Bieber and all that? No, I doubt it. I understand what this lawyer's point. He's experienced. He's talking about this is how it traditionally happens. Like, and us not being in the loop, we don't do this shit for a living. We're not in them courtrooms on a daily and weekly basis. We're not lawyers in this chat, right? So he's hipping us. He's like, we sitting there waiting for the steak, and it's never gonna come. Because guess what, people? They already served it to us. We just ain't eat it. Real shit. Because I'm like, yeah, like, all right, Cassie and Dawn Rashard that got up there and Kid Cudi. There's some shit in there that was damaging to the defense. Yeah. But that's what we're all doing still. But what else you got for me? I don't got nothing else for you. That's it. We done? And this is why I say the longer that the trial goes, they say it's going to turn more and more in the tide of the defense because they already survived your best shot. Let me go to this quick ether. This guy's gotten some backlash for his comments here, right? Bill Maher. He's gotten some backlash for this. I'll give y'all my reaction when it's done. And then I want to ask y'all if y'all fuck with this and y'all think like he's out of line, or if you think like, oh, he just dropped the third round and y'all better listen to that man. What else? Let him talk. Which one? I want y'all, I want to know where y'all stand on this. I'm gonna let it run for, looks like we got 4 minutes.
But this should be society's new grand bargain. We take every accusation seriously, but don't tell me any more about your contemporaneous account that you said to 2 friends 10 years ago. Tell the police right away. Don't wait a decade. Don't journal about it. Don't turn it into a one-woman show. And most importantly, don't keep f***ing him. Your only contemporaneous notes about what he did should be the police report. It's not victim shaming to expect women to have the agency to leave toxic relationships. Quite the contrary, to not expect that is infantilizing them. If Diddy walks free, it will be because his lawyers can point to an endless stream of text from Cassie expressing what's often called enthusiastic consent to their sex life. If you're Me Tooing someone, it doesn't help your case if you texted him, "Me too. I just want it to be uncontrollable." If you want us to think you weren't always ready to freak off, don't write, "I'm always ready to freak off."
It's a real text, right? That came in.
Or "Wish we could have FO'd before you left." You know, one sign you're pretty comfortable with something is when you call it by its initials, like Trump with KFC, or Johnny Depp. Or Johnny Depp with BO. I get it. Part of the allure of the music industry is you want to be a star. It's why someone moves to Miami from Kansas. It's why they built a freeway from Orange County to LA. It's why someone might run away from their small town pastor into the arms of Father Funk. And music is, to begin with, highly sexualized. Magic doesn't strike at the office. It strikes in the studio at 3 a.m. when you're high as a kite and horny as a youth minister, and everyone is sexy as shit, and you're working on a song called "Slut Up My Goo Machine." Of course a freak-off breaks out. Finally. But if we're going to have an honest conversation about abuse, we also have to have an honest conversation about what people are willing to do for stardom. If you want a #1 record on the chart so bad you'll take a #1 in the face, some of that is on you.
Literally.
And if you're doing it for love, well, come on. Oprah and Dr. Phil and every podcaster in the world have done 1 million shows by now about how abuse is not love and abusers don't change. If it happened once, there will be more of it. To pretend otherwise is like seeing one ant in the sink and thinking, oh, it's probably just the one. The singer FKA Twigs is suing Shia LaBeouf for their relentless abusive relationship. Now, I have no idea what Shia LaBeouf is like, although I've never read one single story about him.
Stay right there.
Sound like a dick.
Don't move. Stay right there.
But by her own account, she said, the whole time I was with him, I could have bought myself a business flight plane ticket back to my 4-story townhouse in Hackney, London. Really? Then why am I reading about this? Then do that. Buy that plane ticket, even if you have to go coach. If you're literally being held captive, that's one thing. But if you're putting up with whatever for love or for your career, then you need to have a little more honesty and accountability about that. Ike Turner was a psycho, just like Diddy. But in an era where there was no movement to help her, Tina Turner somehow got away. And she did it with 36 cents in her pocket and a mobile card.
I'm just saying, man. It's just the fairness in me that's doing this. It's the fairness in me that's doing this. I'm watching a man on trial that I have zero love for, that I despise as a man. But I'm strong enough to separate personal feelings towards this man and read the trial. It don't seem right. Being 1,000, it don't seem right. Because if this is the strength of the case thus far, if the biggest pieces of this case we've already seen, that's when you start to get more and more into the conspiracy shit. And I don't be doing that too much. I'm an open-minded person, but that's when you start to get like, is this an attack? Like, you know? And I ain't giving Diddy that type of out right now. I'm not. I ain't going there. We got weeks to go. I'm going to chill on that conversation. But these testimonies, people, I got to take that position. I got to take that position. What Bill just did, you know, the reason why I appreciate that little segment, it's very George Carlin-ish. And for those of y'all that don't know George Carlin, you know, on the weekend streams, I do more movies and music towards the end of our streams where we just hang out and have fun and shit. And I brought up George Carlin either last weekend or the weekend before. And some of y'all don't know who George Carlin is. He's one of my favorite comedians of all time. And like I said, there's a lot of his comedies at times that he wasn't doing a traditional punchline or joking. It was just saying he did a lot of jewels. He did a lot of speeches. And he said a lot of things that were just so, oh shit, he said that it was funny. But he was dead serious with a lot of his shit. And Bill's, the way he painted some of that, you know, I'll never be the type of person that could ignore that piece, that mega piece to me. Mega. I don't know how long y'all been watching some of us covering the trial thus far. We've been here since he was arrested, people, covering Diddy. All right. But I've stayed on the same opinion that the defense's biggest narrative and theme has to be the C word. Consent. Consent. Disgusting man. Disgusting behavior. Disgusting treatment of people. Disgusting boyfriend. Disgusting boss. Disgusting, all of these things. Disgusting. But him being Diddy really does change things in this respect, because I know people will go off the cliff if you found out that little broke old ARP had all these people around me for 10 years that I was doing this shit too, right? Little broke ARP, they would be like, what? Y'all would jump off of cliffs if you heard these stories for little old me. The gravity of being Diddy changes things. Why? Because people say, okay, there's an element there of choice because he has preferential stuff around him. The cars, the mansions, the lifestyle, the vacations, the money, the opportunity, the celebrity lifestyle. This is why the defense entered those exhibits of Cassie sitting there front row next to Rihanna, or swinging with the stars, or hanging out with Johnny Depp. This is why they submitted those exhibits, because they're saying this is the lifestyle that these people, Dawn Richard, for example, came back for and said, yeah, I saw you drag Cassie and I saw this and I saw that and you did this and you did that. But how about that re-up for another contract though? Huh? Took you to Central Park and say, kill you day one. And you still there years later? Huh? When did he gash your eye like that, Cassie? Oh, wait. You said in the fourth quarter of y'all relationship, he argued you on the living room floor. Did you sleep with her again after that? Yeah. Huh? With consent? Yeah. Why? Because I loved him. Huh? I'd kill my father if I walked in and he was R-ing my mother, and he created me with her. Is that a horn, people? Is that not one of the realest ones? If you walk into a room and you realize in split seconds, you hear your mother screaming through the walls and through the doors, let's take it there. Let's go there. Let's do it. If you heard your mother screaming through the walls, stop. No, stop. Don't do that. No, get off me. And you go in there like, I know my mother's voice. You open the door and it's your father on top of her. You gonna walk away? Or did you help your mother, chat? You help your mother, right? You could justify killing your father in that situation, right? Kay says he's a pack. Sincerely says no. Misha says 100. I just gave y'all a fully entrapment analogy. You are trapped in this opinion now. You are trapped. And with that analogy, you are trapped because we know how everybody's answer is going to come across with that. We know it. And if I didn't kill him, I say I was too small. I didn't have the knife or the gun. Let's say I was 5 years old, right? Let's say I couldn't kill him. I'm only 5 at the time, right? But I know what happened. By the time I'm 12, 13, 14, 15, I will always feel a way towards him because I seen what happened when I was 5 years old. I seen what you did to my mother and your woman. But you want to know what? Part of me is going to have a little bit of an issue with her if for all these years I see her giving him this love, this affection. I love because we want our women to be strong. If you support and you provoke a strong woman, if that's what you endorse, a strong woman, right? It's a letdown when your homegirl calls you and says, girl, he beat on me last night. And you say, get out of there right now. Come spend the night on me. I got the second bedroom for you. We good. And then 3 months later, you're on the phone with her and say, hey, what's up, girl? What we doing tonight? She, nah, me and Seti, the one that kicked you up and down the stairs 2 months ago and made you come sleep in my crib. You back with him? Oh, girl, bye. Right? You're let down. You're let down. I would be let down for my mother. I would be let down for my aunt, my sister, I would be let down. It's a letdown. You know what I'm saying? And Cassie's best friend testified. That's one of the reasons. I mean, she got hit on too, but that's one of the reasons why she said her and Cassie's friendship, it's a wrap. She's like, I'm good on you and him. And if you're not sticking up for me, he didn't hit me with this hanger, allegedly. And here you are trying to proxy stand in the middle of giving me this $20,000, $30,000 hush money. I'm going to take it. I still took the bread. But fuck you too. You should be with me. Fuck him. It's not what happened. That friend testified like, nah, she's just like, oh, girl, don't worry about it. You know, here, take this $30,000, whatever. She's mad at me. Cassie's mad at me. So we're not friends anymore. It's bugged out, people. Let me do this quick story with y'all. We just closed out Diddy, y'all. We done. We over an hour with Diddy. We close that out. But let's stay with a quick legal story. Shout out to my man Tate. He sent me this. He said, hey, man, this might be one for your stream, man. I looked at it. I said, oh, yeah, let me share this. Shout out to you, Tate, my brother. Check this out, y'all.
After robbing a Burger King for $2,000, he thought he would go to jail since witnesses reported him and he quickly got arrested. But after a judge sentenced him to 13 years in prison, when it was time to go to jail, no police came to get him. He didn't try to run away because he knew he deserved it, so he just nervously waited in his house expecting police to show up at any moment. But after a few weeks had passed, they never came, so he thought they may have just cleared his record. So over the next few years, he moved on with his life, completely forgetting about the incident. He got married, launched a construction company, and volunteered to help youth avoid making the same mistakes he made. But 13 years later, he was shocked when police suddenly arrived at his house to arrest him. It turns out, because of a technical issue, police thought he was in jail for the last 13 years. But when they went to release him, they realized he wasn't there, so they sent police to immediately arrest him. He was devastated when they told him he now had to spend 13 years in prison to serve his sentence. But when the judge saw that Michael had completely turned his life around and rehabilitated himself, he set him free with no jail time. After robbing a Burger King for $2,000, he thought he would.
That's a crazy story. The reason why I agree with the reason why I agree with it is because y'all try to convince us that one of the primary focuses of jail is rehabilitation. That's what y'all try to convince us, right? It's not a business. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with systemic oppression. It has nothing to do with ties into history and all that other stuff that we could do a whole documentary on, right? It has nothing to do with those things. It's supposed to reform people, right? Give people and also save society, right? Continue to keep society in a safer position by separating out the people that are not upholding certain laws and certain rules and certain boundaries of the land. Okay. But if you're going to try to convince me of that, and this man is out here living a clean life, you can say that he reformed himself, right? He reformed himself. But damn. And I think that's just the right thing to do. Like, that was y'all mistake. Like, if y'all had him, he would have been sitting there for 12, 13 years, right? How do you go to check this man out and he's not there? Like, what type of computer system error? What the fuck y'all got going on? God forbid if I ever get arrested or convicted, do that for me. All right? Let me sit out here for 13 years until you realize, oh, he's not in prison. Do that shit for me, please. That was a bugged out story, but shout out to the chat, man. I see not ARP. We ain't doing that. You want to end the vid as soon as I get here. So I will remind the chat and folks for the stream. You guys have really continued to see the evolution of this podcast. You've seen the evolution of me. I'm trying to get better at what I'm doing. I'm getting more informed. I'm learning more laws. I'm learning more celebrity news. I'm following more people that I didn't follow in the past. I'm getting more comfortable. I didn't laugh this much with y'all a year ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning more people from the chat. You know, I'm learning even personalities from the chat. Like, oh no, Kay is always going to respond like this. I know what Kay is about to say. Like, you know what I'm saying? I learned the chat. So I'm evolving. The background has evolved a million times. You know what I'm saying? The way we do the podcast, the scheduling, you know, for like the last, I don't know, it feels like 5-6 months, damn near, or whatever. I don't know. We've been here 7 days a week. But the way the content and the streams have rolled out have been evolving and changing. And that is another iteration of what's happening right now, which is there will be morning streams Monday through Fridays where we focus in on one topic, right? Yesterday I did Lil Durk. You know, we did him for like 45 minutes or an hour or something like that. Today I wanted to do Diddy Trial, full recap, day 14, right? So sometimes we will do those focused episodes live, and especially on the weekends, I'll do the broadened ones, right? We'll definitely do those. The weekends is when I promise y'all I'll be able to stay more interactive, hang out with the chat more. We do the fun stuff at the end, and I'll do multiple topics during the weekends. During the week, everybody's running and gunning, moving around. Me too, me included. I got to start moving around, running and gunning, running errands, getting my day moving around, getting the gym, being productive. So I got to be careful trying to do a 3-hour stream on a random Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? We've done some of those in like the last couple of weeks. I look, I'm like, shit, I'm 2 hours and a half in with y'all on a Wednesday. I got to go, y'all. I'm fucking my day up. So we will stay 7 days a week, one form or another. So we here. We ain't going nowhere. We 7 days a week, unless I gotta be out of town or something. That's it. Other than that, we 7 days a week. But the way we do the streams and the content uploads and the shorts and everything, that shall continue to evolve. Either way, I promise y'all, we will continue to give the Sorry It's True podcast world our content. And when I say our, it's because whether you guys realize it or not, especially when I bring y'all up on the screen, y'all are a part of the content. Right? I can talk with these topics by myself. I could just cut a camera on and record with no chat, and I would give the same reactions and similar points, right? But sometimes I give subtopics because I'm interacting with y'all. Sometimes I answer y'all. Sometimes y'all drive me onto rants. Sometimes y'all ask me a question, I'm like, fuck that. No, we're going to talk about this for 10 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are a part of the content. You know, when people are listening to us on Spotify or on YouTube or playing us later on or their lunch break or whatever the case may be, they may get something that we break down or we have a real entertaining moment because Jay or Sincere or K or somebody from the chat, you know what I'm saying, KX or whoever just throws in a question. I bring them up on the screen and then we have a conversation about it or a debate about it. You guys are part of the content, you know, so appreciate y'all. Shout out to all the members that was able to make it in this morning. I see Between Rounds TV in here. I see MSM still in here. Sincere still in here. Misha still in here. K is still in here. Big Yella's in the building. What's up, Big Yella? Who else is in here from the members that made it in this morning? I see a bunch of members that made it in. Did any mods make it in this morning? We're not really a trolling type platform, so I don't be too worried about that. But we ain't get any mods in this morning. I'm gonna have to start turning more y'all into mods. You know what I'm saying? Just to cover different time. I got mods that I haven't seen in months because they're just not up this early. Real talk. Real talk. You know what I'm saying? Like shout out to Queen, for example. She's a mod, but I haven't seen her in the stream in weeks, or like a month plus or something like that. But all right, y'all. Today's Tuesday. Enjoy y'all day. Be productive. Stay safe. Stay out of trouble. I'm gonna do the same. And I will either catch y'all later on again this afternoon, the way I did yesterday. I came back for a second stream. Worst case scenario, I'll see y'all in the morning. All right.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members. Wait. I'm actually back. I got a quick exclusive for y'all. I never did this before. I'm like, why is he here after the outro? Mickey Fax called me yesterday, right? And he will be shooting a video for the Rare Breed song. So the full length version of what we play on the outro, we'll see how that turns out. That should be fun, but keep an eye out for that. Let's do it again. We out.
Don't confuse silence with work ethic. I'm a boss making decisions, my first fetish. The verse cherished is perfect, that's a reverse blemish. I dropped it, connected the block, learn Tetris.
This is the Sorry True Podcast. Welcome to the house of. And shout out to the members.